on really ensuring that there is steps that are taken towards women's empowerment and gender equality. But I'll get into a dialogue later, but let's give her a very big warm welcome, please.
Thank you so much for that lovely warm welcome, and thank you all for coming here today. This is really special. I'm very excited to be here. Today I feel very privileged and very honored to have this opportunity to, in my capacity as a performing artist, if there's something that I can talk about or an issue that I can sort of associate with that needs highlighting, I think it is my honor and my privilege to do that. We live in a very, very polarized world, and I look around and I see so much hate, so many hate crimes, so much stratification, people getting divided in all lines, and women and children are the ones that suffer the most. And whether it's in conflict or war situation or even in everyday terms. And I think that it's really important that we need to do something and create an environment which is more equal. Films have a huge responsibility because of course they're a reflection of society, but at the same time they can be empowering. But the change is already there and it is happening. It's slow, but it's definitely happening. There are definitely more women now in the workspace, not just in front of the camera but behind the camera. So you have technicians, you have editors, you have people working in the sound department, and just more women in the workspace definitely means that it's going to be a better environment for everyone to work in. We've always looked at women through the male gaze. That is definitely changing because now we have female directors and writers and producers talking about stories about women.
One critical area that we always look at is the ecosystem, and we look at from the ecological model, the family, the market, the political environment, and you talked about media. Mm-hmm. And there have been some important measures in Bollywood which have moved further on really recognizing women in leadership as an actor, women being recognized as directors, as producers, as technicians, and others. So what else do you think is needed to really advance this to the next level?
Well, like I said, the change is already there. I think today in India at least, you don't just have narratives which are purely about men. And even if it's a film about a guy, there's a very strong female point of view. No longer are you playing characters which are just, the damsel in distress or the vamp, who just is a bad person for no rhyme or reason. I think the stories are getting far more nuanced. You're genuinely trying to understand and represent the female mind, the female form in a much more equal way. And I think that's a very, very healthy way to begin with. And the good thing is that audiences are responding to it. Today you have films like Neerja or A Queen doing extremely well, and they're hardcore female perspectives on the world and on your take on the world, and people are liking it. So I think that it's a 50-50 partnership really, but the change is definitely there. Even if you do like a big mainstream film, there is a very strong female character who has a point of view. She's just not somebody who's there for visual appeal.
Why is it important that when we work on the empowerment of women, that we must look at the often forgotten or left out communities of women, which is really focusing on the most, I'm not saying that you're marginalized, but the minorities in a certain community. Why is it important to make sure that that emphasis is always maintained?
Because they just need more help, and they are the most downtrodden. I mean, I'm not a social scientist, so I can't really give you the exact terminology for it, but I think, isn't it the most logical thing that if certain communities of people for years and years have been marginalized and have not had access to education or healthcare or just a standard of living, they are the ones that need our most help. I think it's the most logical thing to do.
You said you are not a social scientist, but what are your plans in terms of any specific plan in improving girls and women and then empowering them?
Well, I'm an artist. I like to work. My work gives me more satisfaction. However, I've also increasingly realized in all my traveling experiences and meeting some amazing people is that art cannot be without a purpose that I am associated with. I'd like to come in at any level fundraising, raising my voice, sharing my 2 bits of what I think is wrong with the world, just that kind of stuff.
What steps did you take to protect yourself, and what advice would you give to women on the streets, young women in the age group of 18 to 24 in and around Delhi going to college? How do they protect themselves and what do they do? How did you handle all of that?
Thank you. That's a good question because growing up in Delhi wasn't easy. I studied in Gargi College and I live in GK1, so often my friends Sonali, Rajika and I, we would walk down from Gargi College to back to our house, and it was scary because sometimes there would be just men standing on the side, flashing, making lewd comments, just trying to just make obscene gestures. It was really disturbing, and you'd be like, should we just stop walking back home, or what should we do? And then we realized that it wasn't our shame, it wasn't our problem. Answer back. Because just by putting your head down and walking away, it's not going to go away. Those guys are not going to stop. However, the smart thing would be not to tackle it on your own. And I'm also talking about like 14, 15-year-old kids doing that, just because they think they can do it and get away with it. So I think it's important to sort of take those kind of precautions. And I think every girl should learn some form of self-defense. I think that's really important. It's really sad that we have to do this. And sometimes it's that attitude that's important.
Why not being successful actresses, all the actresses should raise this question in the film industry, that why the male actors get paid more than women when we play equal and maybe somewhere more important part to convey the message what we are trying to do.
Thank you.
It's a valid question. I think a lot of actresses in India are raising that point, and they have given interviews and gone on record to say that films are and the structure of how films are also based is a reflection of society we live in. So it's happening, but a lot of women, trust me, and a lot of actresses are raising their voice on this.
What do you think is a realistic solution in trying to get to the root cause of rape and trying to prevent it from happening?
Well, rape is the most common crime against women all over the world. I genuinely believe that rape is about power. It's happening more and more, and it's putting everything in our faces, really. So I think that it's a two-pronged approach. Empower the women, educate the men, make sure they work together. I think that's really the way, and I think it starts from home. It starts in our homes, in our educational institutions, in the way we're writing our stories, educating our kids. Everything really. So there's no one real answer to it. You can prevent it. The government can prevent it and put like enough punishment on it and all of that. But if there's not a change in mindset, it's not going to really stop.
It does have taken a long time because it's not a change that can be expected overnight. And also the growth of mindset, whether it's women and men, they both have, it takes time to grow. We are here with you and women to promote as much as we can. And yes, it's not only the women, it's also power to men and women both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And the last thing is just Ravi, if you can, please present to her the he or she token.
Can you, Monica, please? We have a small United Nations plate for you. So, and Monica, if you can please come the